Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Lord, and I'm joining you again. I'm a clinical herbalist, and I have my own apothecary. And what I'd like to do today is begin a tour. It'll probably be in a couple of parts, but I want to take you through the apothecary, just so you can see what a working herbalist uses on a regular basis. So I have some things set up here. And just to let you know, this is just in my home. This is a dedicated room in my home that I have for my herbs. I don't any longer have an office. I used to have this all set up at the school I ran. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is the vitamix. So the vitamix is my grinder. There's professional grinders you can get, and that I find that this Vitamix for most purposes really works well, because the Vitamix is used to grind up raw herbs, because in order to make a tincture or a liquid extract of a plant, you have to start by grinding your herbs and having them rather small. So here's the Vitamix. Comes the old-fashioned kind, come with a stainless steel holding container, which I find really nice. The newer ones don't do that anymore, but the plastic is pretty sturdy too. And the wonderful thing about it, yes, it's used for juicing and for kitchen things, but if you notice the blades in here, I don't know if you can see that, but the blades are very sturdy. If you try to do this with a kitchen blender, you'll break the blades as soon as you have something in there that is a hard root. It's very, it'll break a blender, a normal blender blade. So here's your Vitamix. A scale. You gotta have a scale. You have to be able to weigh your raw herbs. Here's a bag of herbs that, it's a bag of raw herbs. This is a root. This would have to be ground up in the Vitamix. But before I even grind it, I need to weigh it to know how much I have. This looks like it's about 10.5 ounces. This scale is just an old-fashioned mail scale for weighing packages, and it's calibrated into ounces. Usually in herbal medicine you use a metric system, because in medicine you use metric. So I would be doing conversions, which I'm not going to get into now, but you'd have to know if you're working in grams, you'd have to know there's actually 30 grams to an ounce. So that you'd have to do some converting, but you have to start, because you're going to end up doing calculations. Nothing hard, just basic math, but just to figure out how much of different quantities of things you use to make an herbal tincture. So this is the scale, and then over here we have an herb press. This is an invaluable piece of equipment. The old folk method of taking herbs and pressing them, or pressing out what's called the mark, the solid material from the tincture, which is the liquid, that's called the menstruum, would be to put the solid material in a cloth, to put it all in a cloth, and then you would wring it out, and then the liquid would, you have to have a jar down here, and this would all go into the jar, and what you'd end up with would be the liquid menstruum in the jar, and this is called the mark. This is the solid material. This is really hard on your wrist, because you want to get it every last drop out. So instead of going through this method, if you use an herb press, it makes life a lot easier. So this is the herb press that I use. And what happens here is the solid material and the menstruum go in here, and it's wrapped up in a towel. And in a later date, I'll show you how that actually works. And then what you do is you pump it up. This is a hydraulic press used to jack a car up to change a tire. See how some of these go automatically. This one is a hand one. See how this is coming up? And what happens is, as this comes up, it eventually hits the bottom of the pan up here and squeezes it. And what this does is it squeezes out every last drop of liquid tincture, the menstruum, and it goes down this tube and into the jar. So this herb press, if you're doing a lot of herbal tinctures and have a whole apothecary or starting to develop one, this is really an indispensable tool. How it goes up, and the liquid will be falling in here. I also have over on this side, I have some, just to give you some examples, I have my raw herbs from herb companies, or even ones that I've wild crafted. These are dried herbs, and I store them in bags. They come in bags. This one, well, let's see what is this one? This is from a Chinese herb company. It's called Tang Tang, and it's called wind protector root. And so until I'm ready to process this root, I just keep it stored in a bag. And what you want to do when you're storing herbs is keep them in a kind of a cool, dark place. So down below here, I have some Tupperware type containers that I store my dried herbs in. So that is this side. Oh, one more thing. Here's some tinctures that are sitting, macerating in their menstruum. So after I've grinded the herb, I put a specified amount of dry herb, alcohol, and water in here and let this sit. And this sits for a minimum of 2 weeks. And you shake it up every day or so. And after all the alcohol and the water extracts out the main ingredients of the plant, you're ready to put it through the pressing process. So this one is rhodiola, which you might have heard of, and rhodiola is what's called an adaptogen, good for the immune system, and it also helps with energy, and it also can help people with sleep. It can do both. So rhodiola is a good thing when people are just in some type of adrenal fatigue. So here's rhodiola. Another one I have ready to roll, which has been sitting here way too long, is boswellia, which is frankincense. And this one is a wonderful herb. It's a resin. Frankincense is a resin, and it's used for pain and for inflammation of the muscles and joints. Boswellia is a really useful type of medicine. So that ends it for this side. I also have some alcohol here. This is just 200 proof alcohol, which is the type, another topic, another day, talk about alcohol. So that concludes this section of my apothecary, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.